How's it going? I'm Kyla. Very nice to meet you.
I love the background. It's
Oh,
so
thanks.
nice.
Yeah, I'm in my studio. This is where all the magic happens.
Oh yeah,
It's on the wall, and then guitars on this wall. So, yeah,
it's really great. I guess it's inspiring, right? To have
yes.
all.
And I have this record over here that's Prince, and then just a bunch of records from all kinds of musicians. So, yeah, it's
So do you like buy a record, I don't know, from your favorite artist and just, put it on the wall, or do you go to, I don't know, flea market and then, just search for interesting ones and, put them up?
Well, it depends. Like the Prince one, I had to
Yeah.
search out. So, both, but some of these were actually free and gifted, and so I was like, oh,
Nice.
yeah, I'll take them.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah.
Because yeah, yeah, you can say yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, I love them though. They're really pretty, and they make an awesome backdrop. So,
Yeah, they look great. Because I know I have some Britney Spears records and they're still intact, like in the original.
really, so
So
you're a
yeah.
big Whitney fan?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, me too. I mean, who is it? Who is
Yeah,
that?
exactly.
Yes.
So okay, let's get this started. First of all, we want to meet you better. So can you tell us something about yourself? Like, who is Kyla?
So I am a singer, a songwriter, but I'm developing into like all different kinds of aspects in this industry, producing, mixing and mastering, all of it. So I would say overall I'm just a lover of music and that's all that I do really. And I would say in my music I try to show the bads and the good parts of, who we are, and sometimes it just speaks to the soul that way the easiest. So
Oh, that's beautiful said. That's really beautiful. Um,
thanks.
so, yeah. The soul part is just. So you started.
It really does. It's magical.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think you can hear that, because when I was, browsing, through the internet, I just randomly found out about your songs, and just, play them on repeat for. I love to do that, when you find that one song and then you just play it, for hours.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. I know that. And then you get tired of it like a week later, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna go back to listening to it again.
yeah, then you go back to it and you're like, okay, this is good. So I want to
Yeah,
find out more. Um,
exactly.
yeah. So you started writing when you were really at an early age, right?
Yeah.
Can you remember the first song you wrote?
Yeah. So I started writing when I was 9. I had also started playing guitar. Um, I was I was playing music on the side of the street, at restaurants, all of it, and it was mainly covers, songs made by other people. And so I sort of sat down in my room and I I was 9, so I didn't tell my parents I was gonna write a song. I was so excited. I was like, I can do this. I can do this. And so the first song I ever wrote was called Proven. To prove to myself, I know it's cliche, but to prove to myself I can do it. And so that was like such a cool feeling for me. And I went on through the years to end every single performance and gig I had with that song. And
Awesome.
it felt so sentimental. I would always like tell everyone who was listening, I'd say, I'm going to play the first song I ever wrote. And I kind of want to end this performance. That's such an honor to be here playing with how it all started with the song. So it's so sentimental to me. And I know in the future, in gigs and all of that, concerts, I will be probably ending my concert with the same song.
Perfect. I mean, that's really nice story. So basically, started performing also at the age of 9, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What was your Where was your first performance? How did it look like?
So my first performance, I actually it was on the side of the street. I was busking and I had my guitar teacher with me and I was sitting there. It was like a cute little pop-up gig for a bunch of students.
Nice.
And I was sitting there warming up, playing my music. I had my guitar out, my case was open. I wasn't trying to perform. I was just warming up to go get up on there. And someone dropped a dollar bill. It was a $2 bill into my case. Well, my mom saw that. She's like, "Oh my gosh, your first tip. Let's frame it." And so
Oh,
I still have it. Actually, I think I still have it in a jar.
oh my God, that's
I
perfect.
know. This this is from 8 years ago. 8 years that this was my first tip. $2
That's
bill.
awesome.
And so it's sentimental because, that was such a surprise. I didn't even think at that age that you could get tips
Yeah.
for performing. And so, I would say that was my first concert in a way before I actually went on and, did my whole thing busking at 9, which I sing
Yeah.
on the videos. Yeah, so it was fun.
That's great. I mean, I see you have a lot of sentimental things, from the past. So, I'm just gonna jump to another question that, so I guess things from your past inspires you. I can see you're sentimental and, you do care a lot about, little details and things. So,
Oh, yeah, I'm a sensitive writer. I think all writers are.
yeah. Yeah. So what else inspires you when you're writing music? What's your drive?
My drive is the music. There's some there's a saying that Michael Jackson used to say. It's don't get in the way of the music, write itself. And so I truly believe that when I go into a session writing with someone like across the world, I sit there and I don't go into it thinking I need to write something catchy. I need to write something the labels will like. I need to write something people will perceive well. I write from the heart. And I think that keeps it so authentic, that keeps the emotion, that keeps the drive. And so I let it write itself. If, I go in telling the person I'm writing with, I say, the goal is to write a hit, something that is great. But first of all, the goal is to write the music. And so
Yeah.
I go into it envisioning, something, a piece of my heart being put out. And that's what my song is. And so I think that's what inspires me most is the music itself. I feel like it's so a part of me and I've grown up doing it so much for the last 8 years that it's just been an everyday thing. It's been a part of my life now and it's who I am.
Perfect. So your latest single is all about you. So is it dedicated to someone?
Yeah, so I know.
Like
What a
obviously.
compliment. What a compliment to be dedicated to someone. I actually surprisingly, it's not dedicated to anyone in specific. Um, it's it's more of something of people I've come across, whether it be family, friends. They tend to. I'm sure we all have. You come across someone who is more narcissistic, more into themselves. It's always about them, and it's hard to engage with them just because it always is about them. And so I had sort of written from my experience with that. And I wrote it with two other writers, two talented writers, and it was so much fun to write. I mean, this song is sass, it is attitude, it is emotion about, oh yeah, it's all about you, thank you very much type of vibe, sarcasm. And so it was a blast to write and even more fun to sing. I mean, it was awesome.
And it's hella catchy, I have to say.
Thank
As I told you
you.
earlier, I mean, it's been on repeat, like constantly
Oh
on.
my
So yeah,
god.
you did a great job there.
Thank you. That's a huge compliment. I that was one of those examples of like I'm letting the song write itself and for people to resonate well with it is I mean fantastic as a writer. I that is just so much validation to
Yeah.
go through YouTube comments and see people really loving these lyrics and really vibing with the sound that was put out. So
So you mentioned comments. So do you often go, to YouTube clips or TikToks and, see what people are writing? Do you think
Yeah.
that can be a guide, for your future work?
Yeah, so I know that can be bad or good just because there is some negativity out there, I'm sure. Luckily, I haven't come across anything yet, but,
Perfect.
uh, it's which is whew, thank my lucky stars.
Yeah.
Um, I I feel like reading people's feedback is very important because, I mean, that is the audience that you're trying to reach. And so there's the music side, but there's also the business side between things. And in the past 8 years that I've been doing this, I went more from, oh, music is wholesome and beautiful and da 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 da, to seeing the business side of things too and
Yeah.
what sells, what doesn't, streams, numbers, everything. Suddenly it's no longer just about the music and you got to switch gears into how to actually sell that. And so I think reading through the comments and reading through what people are saying and what they're thinking is extremely important. I mean, those are the people that buy the tickets. Those are the people that, indulge in your music and you need to be feeding the masses something they like. So,
Yeah.
and from
That's
the
correct.
heart, from the
Yeah,
heart,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
most important. It's got to be authentic.
Yeah, I think the community would see, if it's not authentic and if it's not from the heart. So yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
doing a great job there.
Thank you.
So yeah, but when talking about people, who come to concerts, what's the most important thing for you when you're performing? So how do you imagine your gigs, and things like that?
So what I've learned short performing, I've been performing for a really long time. And what I value most when it comes to performing is the engagement because there's been so many different types of gigs I've done, and you have people who want to listen and people who don't, and that's totally okay. People will walk past, people will go, "Oh, it's not worth my time," and that
Yeah,
happens. That happens. And so, what I appreciate most of all is when you have someone, you're up there, you're bearing your soul, and you have someone sitting there nodding their head, they're smiling, they're enjoying it, they're engaging with you, they're clapping. I had, I think one of my favorite moments that I've ever experienced when it came to performing was I had a little girl, two or three little girls in the front row, and this one little girl in particular was just watching me with wide eyes, and she was nodding, she was loving it, and it was such a magical moment because after I finished, she came up to me and she asked for a hug. She asked for a
yeah.
picture. She wanted to hold my guitar. She wanted me to tell her about how I got started. And for me, it was just such an emotional part of performing for me. And
Yeah.
that engagement is just it's a connection. Being able to sit there and sing words, bare my heart, and then someone to receive it, that heart to heart connection is just so it's like no other experience. I'm a studio girl too. I love
Yeah.
oh, but performing's where it's at for me.
Yeah, and you get the chance to inspire a lot of people right there. So
Incredible.
yeah, who is your inspiration when talking about that?
Oh my
What
goodness.
or what? What
Yes.
what inspires you? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, when we're looking at like an artist side, there are so many incredible artists out there. I mean, just especially in this new generation, I think there are so many talented artists. But, when I think of just inspiration of an artist, of a performer, of a writer, I think of the classics, the greatest, Prince, Michael Jackson, just 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 they knew how to perform. They knew how to put on a
yeah,
show, and they knew how to give the people what they wanted. And so Elton John too.
yeah,
There's so many amazing artists out there, but when I think of, who inspires me, especially as an artist, I think of those people.
yeah. They define pop music. I dare to
Absolutely.
say. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's a great bunch to be inspired by.
Yes. I'm honored.
Yeah. So where do you see yourself in the future? What's next for you?
So We have tons of cool releases coming out. I have, uh, 2 more releases with Cloud Kid, the label, coming out in May, one early May, one in late May, a release with Kubex, and just working with artists all over the world. We got tons of things lined up, but I'm hoping to see myself within the next few years, um, building this sort of love empire I'm creating and possibly going on tour and meeting a bunch of people who enjoy my music and being able to play music together, work with new artists, just exploring more that's out there and building more upon what I've created already.
That's awesome, and I can't wait to see you out there, and I know it's gonna be
Thank you.
I know it's gonna yeah, you're
I'm
gonna
gonna see you at a performance.